This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Filip Hrgovic over Zoom. Filip, how are you?
Hey man, how are you? Everything good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. We've been trying to arrange this interview for a while, and I know you haven't got a lot of battery left on your phone, so we have to try and rattle through a few topics. Just this period of inactivity in your career, you haven't fought since beating Zhang last year. How frustrating of a period has this been, Filip?
It's very frustrating. I was ready for the fight even for December last year. So it's very frustrating. That's the worst thing what can happen to fighter. I'm fit, I'm ready, and I'm waiting, but obviously we have some problems to arranging the fight. So but I hope so I'll be in the ring soon. But that's all the part of the business, and nothing can break my spirit.
Why exactly, Filip, have you not been able to secure another fight since fighting last August?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. There was a negotiation with Andy Ruiz for IBF interim title. It fall apart. He didn't want to get knocked out, and he ran away. And then there were chance to fight Oleksandr Usyk for the world title, and he was negotiating with Fury. Then we didn't know what's going on for like weeks and weeks. Then were question it will be unification or it will be mandatory. So it will be WBA Daniel Dubois, or I'm next. So we lose some time there, and I hope so now we're gonna go for IBF interim title. So I think Dubois is fighting Usyk, and I'll fight for IBF interim. I think that will be the case, but we'll see.
I want to ask about that, Philip. I spoke to Kalle Sauland this week just gone, and he said that in the background, the talks are still ongoing about you potentially fighting Oleksandr Usyk if Daniel Dubois' medical records are not up to scratch, and if I don't feel like he'll be ready to face Alexander. To your knowledge, are you still potentially going to step in with Alexander?
Yeah, I mean, it's still not anything. Still isn't official. But if Alexander Usyk is next, I would like that. That's the point. That's the case, and we'll see. I want to be in the ring as soon as possible. If Usyk is next, that will be great. But let's see what happened with Daniel Dubois injury. So is he fit to fight? He's saying that he's fit, so we'll see what happened on the end.
From what you're hearing, Philip, do you expect him to fight Daniel, or do you think that he might not be ready?
Who?
Daniel to fight Alexander?
I don't know. I hope so. He's not fighting, so I'm the next. That will be my wish, but I don't know. He had fight long time ago. It was in December, so I think he has time for recovery, but and for surgery and for everything. But we'll see. I don't know. In boxing, you never know what's next. So I was promised so much things last few years, and nothing happened. So I don't believe until I see.
Philip, if you go down the IBF interim title route, who's next in line to fight you for that?
I'm not sure who gonna be. Uh, I'm not sure who gonna be there. I heard that there's possibility to fight this guy from Australia, Dempsey McQueen. Uh, I heard that possibility to fight him. His rank on the IBF, and we'll see. Whoever from IBF rankings, I'm ready. I just want that happen as soon as possible.
Filip, we recently saw Zhang, your past opponent, stop Joyce. What did you make of his performance in that fight?
I think, yeah, he just destroyed him. He showed that he's a real deal. And in one way, I'm glad that that happened, because he showed that he's a real deal, that he's a real fighter. And I beat him, so my price go up with him beating Joyce. And I'm happy that I shut the mouth of a lot of haters, what was telling that Zhang, when I beat him, that he's too old, that he's not so good, that he's not elite. So in my worst performance, I beat him. It was close fight, but I beat him for sure. And now he showed that he's really good fighter. And I'm glad because of that. I'm not glad because Joe lost, but I'm glad because my price went up with that victory, Zhang over the Joyce. So good for me, and yeah, good for boxing.
Filip, a lot of people spoke about you potentially facing Zhang again in a rematch because of how close your fight was. Is it something you'd like to entertain now? Is it something that we could see? I know Joyce has invoked his rematch clause, but just speaking for yourself, are you still open to it?
100%. I would like to fight him. I'll go whenever he wants. I go to China. I would definitely like to fight him, to give him rematch. I think it was close fight, but I think I beat him clearly on all three scorecards. So, and like I said, it was my worst performance ever. It was like few months after my father passed away. I was not feeling very well. And I think in the rematch, I'll knock him out, definitely.
What do you think happens in the Joyce rematch with Zhang?
Uh, I don't see how Joe will beat him, because Zhang totally outclassed him and neutralized all his weapons, and I don't see Joyce beating him. So I expect similar night, like it was the first fight, but we'll see. I think, technically, and Joe Joyce he's tough guy, but he's limited, technically, and he's not so fast guy. So it will be very hard, for Joe to beat him, especially because now Zhang, his confidence is in the sky, and I think a very hard task for Joyce to come back.
Filip, somebody who you haven't really been open to fighting unless he built his name up is Alen Babic. Now, your fellow Croatian was stopped in the first round recently. What did you make of his knockout defeat?
Oh, well, I don't know what to say. I think with the qualities he has as a boxer, that he make too much of success, too much hype and everything around him. And I don't consider him, great fighter, and he's limited, technically, and he's slow. So in this fight, I expected him to win. They're both, like sluggers, and I expected him to win this fight, but he just wasn't mentally prepared for that kind of pressure for a world title fight. And I think he just wasn't, good on that night. but generally, I think in his good performance, he can beat this guy. You know, that guy Rosansky, what was the name? It's nothing special, but he just, you know, shocked him, and Alen didn't find a way out, you know, of that situation. But like I said, when you see his qualities, he made a good job, you know. He's like what, 10, 11 and 1, you know. He make a decent name by this mostly of his, you know, trash talk against me and other things, but that's it. Nothing much to say.
Filip, just on that loss for Alan, were you disappointed because it means means a potential fight with you two a lot further away now, or do you not really care because you didn't care about the fight in the first place?
Yeah, I don't care really. I think he's not on my level, and I have some other direction and some other goals in my career. You know, I think I'm different level and different kind of animal. So I don't know. I think that fight will never happen.